Hey, Big Bulls, welcome back to another edition of Bullseye. And we got three very interesting stories for you today.
So today we talk about Ola Electric's growing struggles, we talk about Bajaj Allianz parting ways after 24 years, and we talk about the defense stocks crazy run.
Okay, so Saloni, let's start with Ola Electric. The company has been in some hot water for now. There's been some insolvency petitions that have been filed against the electric two-wheeler maker. So tell us what's happening on that front.
Right. So two of Ola's main vehicle registration partners, right, Rosmeta Digital Services and Rosmeta Safety Systems, have hit its subsidiary Ola Electric Technologies with insolvency petitions. This is over the unpaid bills, right? So now the matter is with the National Company Law Tribunal, that is the NCLT, and this has put Ola under the watchful eye of regulators as well as investors, right?
So back in Feb 2025, Ola had actually gone to the stock exchanges and said they were renegotiating contracts with these vehicle registration partners. They said that there could be a slowdown in EV sales, but they didn't mention anything about unpaid dues or insolvency.
Right, but now that you see with Rosmeta, it's pushing for insolvency over rupees 25 crore in unpaid dues, right? Now there are worries that obviously Ola did not disclose this fully, and this may lead to them having some legal troubles even from the market regulator for that matter, right? So Ola Electric relies heavily on these third-party agencies, right, to get the registered vehicles, which is different from its competitors like Yamaha and Honda, who actually have their in-house registrations partners, right? Ola has to depend on these agencies to get the job done state-wise as well. And under the India's insolvency and bankruptcy code, vendors like Rosmeta are seen as operational creditors, and they can start insolvency proceedings if they are not being paid on time.
Okay, but also let's not forget that Ola Electric's financials are still not looking very good. They're still in the red, and its margins are also getting thinner. So in Q3 FY25, they actually had a bigger net loss of 560 crores.
That is true. And there's also this question of quality, right? Because in October 2024, India's consumer rights watchdog sent Ola a warning letter where it said that 10,000 complaints have been filed against Ola against delayed deliveries, bad service, defects in manufacturing, and even false advertising. And this has also led to sales dip, right?
So essentially, Saloni, the company's struggles are hard to ignore. And no matter what Bhavish Aggarwal is doing on LinkedIn and X, it doesn't seem to be helping Ola's case.
That's true. Now let's talk about the breakup of the 2.5-decade-old alliance.
I see what you did there, Saloni. That's because we are talking about Bajaj Allianz's breakup, right? So let me rewind a little to the year 2000, because that is when the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, or the IRDAI, actually came out with its first set of regulations and allowed foreign players to actually come into the Indian insurance market. So they allowed an FDI of 26% in the insurance industry. And just a year after this announcement, Bajaj, our very own Indian brand, decided to team up with the mega German insurer Allianz, and both of them grabbed the opportunity to really make a dent in the Indian insurance market. So the Bajaj Allianz partnership, or the alliance between the two, kicked off in 2001 with the general insurance, right? And they got their registration certificate, and today it's one of the largest and most profitable general insurance companies in India.
I also read that they even made history by selling insurance policies online. Like they were the first ones to do so.
Oh, interesting. So I didn't know that, but that's good to know, right? But let's again go back to the FDI regulations. So it started with 26%, but over the years, the IRDA and the government, they gradually ramped it up. So it went from 26% to 49% in 2015. It went up to 74% in 2021. And in the most recent budget, they actually said foreign insurers can own 100% of insurance companies. Now think about this from Allianz's perspective, right? So it's a growing market. It's still underpenetrated in India. There is an opportunity. But Bajaj also saw the opportunity and did not want to really let go of a large stake in the company. They wanted to keep Allianz where it was. Allianz wanted a bigger piece of the pie, and that wasn't happening, which has finally led to them deciding to part ways after 24 years.
Right. So Bajaj Finserv, which owns 74% of the joint venture, is now buying out Allianz's 26% stake. And obviously, this will make them take full control of the company, right?
Absolutely. But let's also say that at least Sanjeev Bajaj, the CMD, says that it's a win-win deal for both partners. Now, what does he mean? You said Bajaj is getting 100% stake in the company, but For Bajaj, it also means there's a potential to list these arms in the future. So that definitely will unlock value for Bajaj. But on the other hand, it's probably going to be a win for Allianz because with 100% FDI, you can be sure that they are already speaking to other potential partners in the country. And who knows, maybe if they even come in alone, time will tell whether that will happen. But definitely some partnership could be on the cards for Allianz. So let's go back to the stock markets now with the defense sector, which has been sort of in the limelight after a torrid few months for the stock market on a whole.
Right. So, actually, when we talk about it, Nifty Defense Index saw a solid 5% jump just on Wednesday, right? And stocks like Garden Ridge Shipbuilders and even Kochi Shipyard, they jumped up to 20% along with other defense stocks as well.
So what's sparking this rally, Saloni? What's going on?
So looks like it's mostly the speculation about what comes next for the sector, right? Earlier this week, brokerage Nuvama put out a report that highlighted how India's defense sector is set for some major growth and how all with the global shifts that's happening, India's defense sector is what is going to obviously grow on that as well. They're expecting exports to hit 203 billion rupees in FY25 and the government's aiming for 500 billion by FY29 as well. And even when we talk about India's defense sector and the story there, right, they are actually moving from imports to self-reliance thanks to the Maker in India push and also the policy changes that we've been seeing, right? This has also helped the defense sector seeing the exports actually reaching 21,000 crore in FY24, which was around 32% higher from last year and also like a record number for that.
Right. So you mentioned exports as well. And from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of noise in the defense sector in Europe, thanks to Europe saying that, hey, listen, Trump is not a trustworthy ally anymore. So Europe is also playing a big part in this defense rally, probably.
Yeah, that's actually there because Nuvama also spoke about this in their own report, right? They believe that India's defense sector is really well poised to actually take the most of this opportunity, right? Because Europe is struggling with manufacturing constraints and even workforce shortages, right? So they can come and they can partner with Indian firms and Indian firms can be that reliable suppliers to them as well, right? The brokerage is also predicting that European defense orders for India could start coming in as early as the first half of FY26 as well, right? Plus, the government's also planning this massive defense procurement worth 1.5 trillion by March 2025. This is to tackle concerns about slow order placements in FY25, right? So this move is also expected to give that boost to the defense stocks as well.
Got it. But I have one last question on defense. A year ago, when the defense sector was booming and every mutual fund was also announcing NFOs around the sector, there were talks around how expensive the sector had become. Now, granted that there's been a 30% fall in the index in the past 9 months, but I have to ask, you said there's a lot of activity happening. Some of it could be driven by speculation. Is it still an expensive sector?
Right. So I remember how defense was around like 65 PE, earlier when obviously the stock market was rallying, right? But now, even if the price to earnings ratio has come down to 42, it's still a bit high, right? Even if these companies have this high growth potential. So of course, that's something that we need to keep an eye on as well.
So probably don't jump all in just because of speculation happening and you see. All right. Fair. So I guess that's it from us this week, folks. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Bullseye. We hope you have enjoyed this. And if you have, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you do enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel too and hit that bell icon so that you know when the next episode drops. We'll see you next Thursday.